an unexpected awkwardness happened here to me just now. As some of you may know, I am a hermit. I live by myself on the top of a little hill in a forest overlooking some beautiful lands, and I have a very steep, long driveway up to my home. And unless I've invited one of my beautiful friends over, because I'm not a hermit that has no friends, I'm a hermit who has some incredibly beautiful soul connections all through time and space in different countries, and I'm very blessed when my friends visit. But in between that time, which is most of the time, I'm just alone doing my hermit thing, studying all the different traditions that I do and exploring and playing and experimenting. So I was in one of my hermit modes, doing one of my hermit things, and I heard a car pull up. I just thought, who is this person? They must be lost. What are they doing here? And so it was a truck, and a man opened the door, and then suddenly my female instinctive protectiveness came out, like, who is this man? Am I safe? My prickles went up, and then his pregnant wife came out the other door with a little baby, and then a little toddler hopped out of the car onto the driveway. So I had to quickly lock up my puppy that I'm training, who unfortunately gets way too excited around children and toddlers, and he jumps up on them and he doesn't understand his weight, and it's a bit of a problem. But we had that kerfuffle of trying to wrangle in the dog and put him in his cage, and then these people are here on my driveway, and then it starts raining, and so I have to invite them up on the deck, but most of the deck is uncovered and it's cold, and it's raining, and the appropriate thing to do is to invite them into the home. And I have not tidied my house for guests. Like, I've been making mad tea concoctions, and there's cups everywhere. There's lots of butter sticks that have been... Enough. In your bed. There's lots of sticks of butter that, I'm in the process of using. I like using different butters for different things. I'm a butterholic. I live on butter. And so, but I do have some beautiful flower vases all around my house. They were mostly in the living room there. I'm not going to take you because it's a bit messy. So there's me feeling awkward, like, oh, now you can see my mess that, new guests are not supposed to see, and my puppy's whining and going crazy, and the family's there, and then they start telling me about how they read the Bible. And Durek, who is one of the artists here, we had a gallery. I don't know if any of you saw on my Instagram, I posted some of the artwork, and he's the one that drew the angel, but as represented in the esoteric Christian traditions. With many eyes and many wings. And, I think people do not understand that these things are symbolic, because now I'm a bit hot. I'm drinking this cup of tea I made. Is so good, but I'm like so hot right now. You know how caffeine and tea can heat you up. I'm highly sensitive, so if I drink coffee or tea in your bed, my puppy's a bit chaotic, it can really get me heated up. See, now I have to take one of my mini layers off. I have quite a few of them on. So they arrive and they start talking to me about the Bible, because they said that Durek, who had painted the angel, told them about me, because I asked him if he was a mystic, which is what I identify as, because he had drawn the angel accurately, and one of the just so people can understand why there's so many eyes on this symbol that represents angelic frequency, is because there's many different perspectives. The angel can see many different perspectives. That's why they can be a guide and a force that supports humanity, because humanity has many different perspectives, and if you just have one perspective, or whatever the certain groups do, I don't even know if it's this, I'm dyslexic, but one perspective of a superior race, then you can create a lot of evil and damage. But angels have many perspectives, even though in Christian traditions we often see them depicted just human-like with two wings. If you study the deeper teachings around the Christ impulse, which a lot of it's captured in Christianity, but it's also captured, that impulse, in Buddhism. It's also captured in ancient Egyptian and Greek mysteries, Ulyssean mysteries. Really, anyone who's on track with the truth will represent it similarly and call it a different thing. So I'm sure the Christ impulse is called other things in other traditions, but angels are drawn as, some of them, in many circles, because it's about many cycles. They're forces that influence many cycles, because life is cyclical. If you look at one point, one event, you don't understand really what life is. You can't understand life by looking at one event. You have to look at cycles. And so angels affect the cycles, and they have many eyes because they have many different perspectives. They have, I talk about in some of my other channelings about having the one eye, the middle path, to try and unify different perspectives. So that's another symbolic way of saying that you can take two polarizing perspectives and make them one. That's how you harmonize things. That's how you bring peace. And then having many eyes is that you can see quite defined many different perspectives because you have met those many eyes. But these are all symbolic references, because an actual angel does not have many eyes. You know what I mean? It's not a physical form. It's a vibrational frequency. Like the Elohim, it's an intelligence that can speak through us, and they can speak in terms that humans understand, but it's more so a frequency of expansive, gentle peace that expands us into awareness of the greater energy and energy systems that we are, and how we can affect the cycles, the cyclical manifesting that different realms birth through. So anyway, he had drawn something accurately. So I asked him if he was a mystic, and he just looked at me and I was like, oh, sorry. I have to be careful, when I'm around regular people, because I am a mystic. I study the esoteric arts. I have explored the occult arts, which really are the esoteric arts, but more focused on physical manifestation, whereas the esoteric arts are more about changing consciousness and frequency. And the Christ impulse is, for me anyway, one of the rays of the Christ impulse that I work on and work through. So hot. Anyway, my hair is really dirty. I haven't washed it in a while, so I was not prepared to do this. Actually, I think I should put my hat back on. What do you think? See? I'm just a messy human. Anyway, one of the things that the ray of the Christ impulse that I'm aligned with is innocence. And I'm here to foster and cultivate whatever I can to encourage a channel that allows for the profiliation, my words are getting mixed up, for the direct channeling of innocence into this world and into this new reality that we are creating. There's a lot of realities that are being created, superimposed upon one another, the virtual ones, the legal entities, the business entities. Entities belong in the astral and the fourth dimension. And so the things that happen in the astral, the fourth dimension, they then create a certain tonal resonance that then creates structure within the physical realms, because in the physical, that's where we're about structure. So there's a new structure being created now, and I'm not going to go into how and why right now, but I will in another video. And one of the things that I choose to do, because that's the realms that I work in a lot, is is the astral realm. So I do a lot of shamanic work. I do a lot of hemisync work. I do a lot of conscious expansion work. I use my body as a tool through breath and sound and movement and posturing. Like if you understand a mudra, when you meditate and you do a mudra, it'll change the frequency of your consciousness or change how you breathe, because your breath reflects your consciousness. I'm doing quantum breathing, which is being channeled through by the Elohim Collective. So what the purpose of me doing all this is not just to become a magician, sorcerer. Even though when I was a kid, that's what I thought would be cool. I wanted to be a wizard, I still kind of want to be a wizard. That's my inner child. But the purpose of me doing this is to create a vessel, a channel for innocence, the return to innocence. So that's why I do all the things that I do. That's why I set my life up the way that I do. That's why I live as a hermit. But I'm still an awkward human being that feels like I blush when people sometimes see what I'm doing. Or so they came and I had recorded a YouTube before, because I'm trying to get my YouTube channel out, because I'm working on creating a clinic, which is actually about the return to innocence, and it's using conscious expansion tools and psychedelic assisted treatment therapies. I'm going to pair up with a psychiatrist. I'm not sure the actual structure of how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm birthing it. And so I'm in deep mad scientist creative mode. My house is just a mad scientist house. And this not pregnant. Well, she had an infant. So no, she wasn't pregnant. She just had the infant on her. But, a mother with child and a toddler and a father. And then they wanted to talk to me about the Bible, which I love talking about. But I also am aware that there's things that I might say that if someone is a traditionalist Christian, I might trigger them or offend them. So yeah, I just started asking them if they knew about the Ethiopian Bible, which has many more books than is just with the King James Bible, and then how you have to use your discernment and your intuition to read through sacred texts, because they have been written by humans. And as I said in one of my other posts, humans can have an off day, or they can be influenced by many different things, and they can get things wrong, or they can inject their own agenda and think they're doing the right thing, but really it's not helpful to anyone. So so that just happened. I feel a little bit awkward, a little bit shy, and a little bit happy that I had a beautiful interaction with a beautiful family, and we got to talk about God, and we got to talk about the Bible, and they seemed to be open to the things that I was sharing, and they saw my whole bookshelf there with all of my books about many different wondrous things, and they saw my crazy puppy that may have to go and live with the family. We're working things out, but that's just a moment in my day. I thought I'd share it. It's gone on long enough, but I guess this is the thing you do when you go on YouTube and you share a bit of yourself and a bit of your energy, so people can know who you are. Well, have a lovely whatever time it is where you are. It's afternoon here, and I will see you next time.